Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff. What is going on? Co-host Chip is out there in the audience. What is going on, everybody? Crypto heating up, on fire. People are melting over the passions and everything else that's going on in the space, but it is getting attention and recognition all over the world. Things are happening here. So today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk a little bit. There's this project called AnChain. And AnChain seems to have picked up a brand new partner. And that partner happens to be the SEC. So being that the SEC is now working with AnChain to do blockchain analytics, we need to look into it and dig into that a little bit, dissect it, and see what this AnChain is all about. And Cuba is actually getting into regulatory clarity. Get this, regulatory clarity and normalization of cryptocurrency for payments. And then Mark Cuban is poking back at the bear, the big SEC bear, Mark Cuban. So you got Cuba, you got Mark Cuban, and FTX is now joining Coinbase and Kraken with this GAAP audit pass. We need to look into that. Morgan Stanley digging in deep into the crypto space. Deep. So what's all that about? We're going to get into it. We got to kick this thing off. It's early morning. Grab your coffee. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
If you haven't done so already, make sure you go out and grab your coffee, get your espresso, whatever that might be. Give a quick shout out as you come into the room. Give a quick shout out to where you are logging in from. And that way we can kick this thing off. We've got Ferdy over there. Ferdy, what is going on way over there in the Netherlands? Run away, Ferdy, run away. What is going on? Johnny Crypto. Now, Anger 668, he's just like, what's going on here? Supposed to start at 8, delayed already, 5 minutes late. Finally kicked this thing off. So here's the story, right? Didn't run into traffic. Out walking my dog super early this morning. Took a long walk. My dog wants to take all these detours. On the way back, run into one of my neighbors, and he could tell that I'm in a hurry, and I just couldn't get away from him. And it was just like the clock's ticking, and he's telling this whole story. And finally, in the middle of his story, I'm like, listen, I got to run. I got to go. Got places to be. And that was, and then I'm like, oh man, now I'm late, behind schedule with everything. So we've got Ozkin coming in from Zurich. Man, what a great place. Go check out Zurich. You know, perfect. Yeah, Zurich is a great place if you haven't been there. I loved it. Had a great time over there. So anyhow, what do we got going here? What do we want to talk about? Should we get into Morgan Stanley? Should we talk about the SEC? Should we talk about Mark Cuban? There's a 12-year-old that's making huge bank, made about $400,000 in about 2 days with NFTs. Crazy stuff. But what we will start out with, I'm going to give a quick shout out to permission.io. So today's show brought to you by permission.io. They are giving your data back to you, putting you in control of your data, allowing you to monetize your data. You download their browser extension. Every so often you get this little request and ask, say, hey, do you want to engage and watch this video? You say yes, and you get to earn ask token, ASK token. So you're earning ask token by watching a video instead of just watching those other videos from all the other big players out there, and you make nothing on it. They're making money off of you. Permission.io lets you make money from your own data. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. So check this out. Let's start over here. Let us open up our screen, do a little share, and we're going to kick off today's conversation with Morgan Stanley. So check this out. Morgan Stanley loads up on $240 million in GBTC. Now, traditional brick and mortar financial institution doesn't go all in on Bitcoin, but however, they do go heavy on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC. Now, that is a big play because regardless of whether or not you're holding the Bitcoin directly or you're holding the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, still tied to the Bitcoin. And so Morgan Stanley, according to this, is the second largest holder of GBTC as an investment bank. So to me, I look at this and Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Fidelity, JP Morgan, all of the big financial institutions are moving in and trying to get into this big play that is crypto. And it has big meaning because when you want that mainstream adoption, the brick and mortars, the financial institutions definitely need to be part of that. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Ange. It wasn't Anger. It's actually Ange C668. Good to be here. Go XRP. Appreciate you. He's tuning in from Australia. So we got a huge group over in Australia that got good following over there. Hopefully you guys are staying safe way over in Australia. We've got Sooner in Southwest Florida from Naples. So Naples, Florida. So let's see here. Got all sorts of good stuff here. Kelly, that's hilarious. Ask, right? I gotta enunciate it better. That's why I always spell it out. ASK. The ASK token. So we got Della tuning in from France. Great. Enjoy. Glad to have you here with us. France was interesting when I went over there. Spent some time. It was funny. We flew in super early. Got picked up by some of our clients over there. Straight from the airport. Sun hasn't even come up yet. Straight to the cafe overlooking the Eiffel Tower. And it was great watching the sunrise over there, drinking coffee, eating a little breakfast, hung out down there, dinner over there, and then straight over to Versailles. What a great place. Really interesting. All right. Got sidetracked here. All right. So Morgan Stanley. All right. Now, another one, let's go over to this because FTX, we've been referencing FTX. FTX has been making waves recently. FTX really pushing the mainstream attention, mainstream recognition of the crypto space right to the forefront by putting the FTX on the Miami Heat arena. They're putting their name over on another arena out in California at a school, a university. But now FTX is joining Coinbase and Kraken with something called the US GAAP audit pass. Now, this is important because as you get these regulators and these auditors all over the world right now, we're starting to see regulators kind of clamping down on the crypto space. Now, this becomes, critical because as we look at what this is, so both FTX and FTX.US have completed requirements to pass the US Generally Accepted Accounting Principles audit, which checks for a set of accounting principles, standards, and procedures in according with the Financial Accounting Standards Board. Now, this is critical. You want mainstream adoption. You want the regulators and the attention to look at your organization like, obviously, that it's a legit organization, that it's a player in the space. So this makes it even more so. So now you've got three big exchanges. Now FTX making this massive play ahead of a lot of the others in the space to join just a select few that can meet that standard. So really important. Amber alert. All right, let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. It's funny, these Amber alerts, they always pop up. And they're always from different counties where we don't even live in that area. Yet they pop up. So, all right. this is interesting. So excited to announce that FTX US has officially passed its US GAAP audit. While this is a first for FTX, Coinbase and Kraken have historically passed US GAAP standards. FTX trading model differs from other crypto exchanges in that it allows for trading of tokenized derivatives. Now, we have a number of other platforms that also are trading in tokenized securities. Here, trading in tokenized derivatives. Now, moving things in a direction of, when you get into derivatives, futures, options, and obviously tokenizing securities, moves your platform into the, I call it the normal financial system, the normal financial structure. So how crazy is it, that this is the direction that crypto has been going in, is going in, and now the big standards are starting to look at them and saying, hey, this is interesting. We need to provide the right audit techniques around it. So, hey, if you guys could do a favor, you want to tweet out this stream. Due to the fact that I was late, everything got set back early this morning. I didn't even get to post the video on time, so our notifications never went out. So normally I've got to get this up by 7 a.m. at the latest, 7:10. For notifications to go out at 7:30, missed the window and no notifications went out for this morning. So if you guys can tweet it out, Chip, if you're out there in the crypto sphere somewhere, you want to tweet it out, that would be great too. So anyhow, good stuff coming, heating up. Everything is on fire because with this type of movement across the board. And then we're going to look at what's going on in Cuba. What is Mark Cuban even talking about? Good stuff. So one of the biggest issues affecting all U.S. exchanges is the question of whether or not specific tokens should be classified as securities. Now, obviously, right, this is like, this is one of the biggest statements. This is the area that the SEC has been dropping the ball on because they're coming after and attacking both Ripple and XRP with no clarity, zero clarity. Exchanges operating in the U.S. are typically regulated by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network under the money services business sector, right? So obviously, if a token is a security, then you cannot offer an unregistered security for trading to an uncredited investor. Now, look at this statement. To me, this statement is everything, right? This is everything. Because imagine if you're selling, the statement that he makes here, an unaccredited investor. Now, think about what's behind that. And this is where it gets, you can get really angry, over this idea. So the SEC goes out there and their purpose is to focus on the protection of investors. What we see, though, is that there's certain rules that have been put together that protect a specific subset of the economy that you could claim to be more, a wealthier subset, not necessarily wealthy, but a wealthier subset, because in order to become an accredited investor, you have to have liquid assets of $1 million. So until you hit that benchmark of $1 million, then you cannot become an accredited investor. Now, I believe that 1 million could be in your 401k. It could be in different framework, as long as it's accessible. And there's some other criteria that you have to meet in order to become an accredited investor. If you fall short of that criteria, you cannot become an accredited investor. You can then also not participate in certain investment opportunities that are only available to those that can become accredited. So once you hit a certain economic threshold, all of a sudden new economic opportunities open up to you. So this statement that they're making right here is that if a digital asset is an unregistered security, then so let's look at it like, let's say from an IPO perspective or pre-IPO. There are certain investments that are open only to accredited investors. Now, in order to gain access to that as a non-accredited investor, it's impossible. So obviously there's motivation by certain people to move things into a direction, right? To move things into a direction where it will be untouchable by most. So what is the motivation to make an investment class untouchable by most? Now, we know that cryptocurrency overall is a brand new asset class that's been acknowledged umpteen times, right? And that new asset class is moving people into a direction that they can invest. You know, it's changing their lives. It really is. So, then, this is then going and boiling down to, this is the central question. Obviously, SEC v. Ripple. The main subject is whether Ripple is actually a security. This is an incorrect statement. It's whether XRP is a security. I really wish people would get their facts straight. So Blockworks, you need to do better. You have this whole article. Now, the idea of this article was how Coinbase and Kraken and FTX are now passing the GAAP audit, right? So we get into this conversation, and quickly, Casey, you need to do a better job. It's not Ripple, it's XRP. But you get into the article, and then all of a sudden we start switching. How do we switch from why it's important for FTX to be to have passed the GAAP accounting practice audit to whether or not XRP is a tokenized security? I get it. They want to talk a little bit about this, but why make a mistake on Ripple? Why not utilize? I don't know. Anyhow, FTX also watching the SEC and Chairman Gensler, who said he plans on making crypto regulation a priority for clarification about the classification of digital assets. So you look at this, right? We know that the Senate, forget the Senate, it's insane, right? It's insane what's going on over there. But here's what's interesting, right? So you've got this, and yes, everybody is watching SEC Chairman Gary Gensler because we're looking for some normalcy. We're looking for regulatory clarity. We don't want overreaching regulation. We need clarity. We need the rules of the road. It's like going out and driving on the road and not having any rules. So you can drive wherever you want to. If you've ever been to India, for instance, when you're driving down the road in India, the rules of the road in many places seem to be a suggestion. Because if you have a 3-lane road, you probably have 6 lanes of traffic on a 3-lane road with motorcycles with an entire family of 5 people on it, zipping in and out of traffic, and everybody honking nonstop. Chaos, right? But somehow they live in this organized, they have a sense of organized chaos on the roads of India. It's kind of crazy. So here, we need clarity. We don't want, again, punitive regulation. So imagine you're driving down the road and it's 50 miles an hour, but now they're going to say, no, it's 50 miles an hour if you're driving a blue car on Tuesdays. Now you're like, okay, so if you don't have a blue car and it's not Tuesday, if you have a blue car and it's Tuesday, you can drive 50 miles an hour. If you don't have a blue car and it's Tuesday, you can't drive 50 miles an hour. But if you're in a blue car and it's Wednesday, you can't. That's punitive regulation. It's insane regulation. And that's kind of what we're getting out of Gensler and some of these others, is they're trying to create this punitive regulation. We saw what came out of the Senate. It wasn't rules of the road for clarity to build and further innovation. It was more punitive. It was chaos. It was something that's going to crush innovation. And then Congress comes out and says, well, we're not even going to amend it. We voted, you can't amend it. Now, that's critical. But then you have, let me see, where did I put the article? Where'd it go? No, where'd it go? It's here somewhere. I know I have it. Nope. Now I got to look for the article. I had it lined up to go through it and gone. Where did come on, this was an important article too. Now I got to go back and find it. Hang on a second. This one is critical, right to the point of what we're talking about here. So let me see if I can find it. I swear there's like stuff, I don't know what it is. That one day I was in here and my allergies were acting up, but I was outside and there's all sorts of stuff outside. And I don't normally, I get allergies, but it's like sometimes it's crazy stuff. Now, where's this article? Oh, here it is. I have it open. It's not over there. It disappeared. All right, let me reopen this article. I don't know how I missed it. Let me put it over here. Maybe it just ended up on its own screen. So regulation, Congress, the Senate, the SEC, all these things happening, right? And then we've got Darren Soto. So now we have, so here's what's key, right? Is that we've got in Congress a handful of representatives, Darren Soto, who's a Democrat, Warren Davidson, who's a Republican, Tom Emmer, who's a Republican, Ted Budd, who's a Republican. These four are probably the most outspoken congressional representatives on cryptocurrency, to the point where, like in this article, they refer to them as crypto friendly. Now, all of them, and Warren Davidson and Darren Soto, are the co-authors or co-sponsors, I should say, of the Token Taxonomy Act. Probably, and I'll say this every single show, but the Token Taxonomy Act is by far the most important and significant legislation on cryptocurrency ever put in front of Congress. I would venture to say that the Token Taxonomy Act is probably as important, as significant as the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. That is how significant the Token Taxonomy Act is for cryptocurrency, for this space. However, those in Congress, and it's interesting. So I had a conversation with an attorney yesterday who is a specialist in cryptocurrency. Now, we have a lot of attorneys floating around our ecosystem that talk about cryptocurrency, do not specialize in cryptocurrency. Now, some of them have been very outspoken and have acknowledged that they have not specialized and do not specialize in that field of law. But this attorney actually specializes in this field of law. I had a nice conversation with her. We're working to get her onto On the Chain. We're going to bring her on one of these Sundays. And she is a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge. And it was so refreshing talking to her. And she used to work as a prosecutor on the other side. And that's how she gained exposure to cryptocurrency, because they actually tracked down an organization or an individual that was using cryptocurrency for bad purposes. And I'll save it for the show. She can tell that story. That's how she came into contact with cryptocurrency the first time. They tracked that individual down utilizing their cryptocurrency. So, but it's interesting because as we get into legislation, as we get into the significance of clarity for this space, for innovation, we're seeing that obviously this type of legislation is critical, right? And so now, you see all this conversation from all these individuals all over the place that keep referencing it. And here, finally, right? Finally, you have two more bills that are now sponsored by Darren Soto. Now, as we dig into these bills, from Darren Soto, we find out that, like the Token Taxonomy Act, these bills are in their third issuance, third time brought in front of Congress. 2018 was the first time. So he's now done it 3 times, 3 different congressional sessions. And where is it? Because if you look back at it, no movement, 0 movement. It gets there and it sits there and doesn't do anything. And so one of the things I spoke to this attorney about yesterday is that there are too many within the space that don't understand from a legislative perspective or from the congressional perspective or the House or the Senate that simply do not understand cryptocurrency, and they therefore try to shy away from it, or they'll make decisions like in that infrastructure bill. They'll make decisions based on third-party commentary on the crypto space, or they're like, I don't want to bother with it. Forget about it. I'm just going to move on. That's their mindset. That mindset is prevalent in the leadership of these committees as well. So the Financial Services Committee, which is the critical committee, the Financial Services Committee, probably one of the most important committees on Capitol Hill. The Token Taxonomy Act is sitting there. However, the chair, Maxine Waters, who's now seen this bill in front of her 3 times, has ignored it. It sits in committee and does nothing. No discussion, no furtherance, no movement. So now we have Darren Soto trying to push 2 more bills for crypto clarity. He wants to clarify crypto legislation. It's so important, right? It's critical. So what are the bills? Now, both of them, again, have already been presented twice before. So one is the Virtual Currency Consumer Protection Act, which calls on the CFTC in conjunction with the head of the SEC and other relevant federal agencies to produce a cryptocurrency report that aims to promote fair and transparent virtual currency markets by examining the potential of price manipulation. Why has this bill not passed? This is the fluffiest bill I've ever seen, right? Obviously, there's others. There's a lot of fluff in these bills. Now, why is this important, though? Even though it's fluff, even though it doesn't provide clarity, what does a bill like this do? So they want a crypto report. So what that does, it forces the committee to assign and appoint another committee between the CFTC and the SEC to get together to produce a report specifically on cryptocurrency. It's important. However, it's fluff. Why is it fluff? Because the Token Taxonomy Act actually does something. All this does is a bill that's in front of a committee that they have to discuss it in committee. They have to vote on in front of committee to actually establish another committee to discuss and put a report together and come back and report back to the committee. You think about the insanity of this stuff, right? Number 2, the second bill is the Virtual Currency Market and Regulatory Competitiveness Act of 2021, which was co-sponsored by Tom Emmer, that pushes the CFTC to promote U.S. competitiveness in the evolving global virtual marketplace, specifically by issuing clarity on crypto regulation, and if deemed appropriate, suggest this is a critical bill. This is as important as the Token Taxonomy Act bill. It's amazing. I'm not going to get into looking at and where they are. This summary is perfect. Perfect summary of both bills. One is fluff. The other is real. This one, I like it. Promote U.S. competitiveness in the evolving global virtual marketplace. Why is that important? It acknowledges and it recognizes the evolving marketplace for virtual currency on a global scale. It's not just in the US. It's not like when the internet boom started back in the 90s, it was San Francisco centric, that if you weren't in San Francisco, you weren't a player in the .com in the early 90s, right? They held all the power. In the 80s, Microsoft and Apple and all these other hardware-based companies and some software-based companies in the 80s, all in that Silicon Valley area. The Silicon Valley held all the power. They held the keys to the power. They held the keys to the future of the growth of the space, whether a software, hardware, or the dot-com boom. That is where it was all centered. Way too much power. Way too much power. That was all centered in one place in the hands of the few, and those that wield the power aren't necessarily the ones that you want wielding the power. Now here they're acknowledging that this is global, that it's a global marketplace, and it's now, because the US is slipping and losing their competitiveness in this marketplace. And yet we need to see that both the SEC and the CFTC get on board. But here it's saying that they want the CFTC to do it. Now, the CFTC has been very outspoken as well as to whether or not they are the ones that should be regulating or overseeing the crypto space. Yes, there are going to be some companies that are going to issue a token that is a security, or they're going to issue the token as a security or a tokenized security in token form. In that case, it goes over to the SEC. But the SEC should not be overseeing and regulating all digital assets as securities, because that's incorrect. And the CFTC has come out and acknowledged it. Now, Gensler, who is supposed to be the brilliant one from MIT, came out and said that everything is clear and it's obvious what it is. And then from all sides, commissioners of the SEC, the CFTC, the Senate, the Congress, everybody's in a state of confusion over cryptocurrency. They're not in a state of clarity. There's no clarity in the space yet. We're trying to achieve clarity. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about bills. If there was clarity, we wouldn't even worry about it. I mean, it's like, it's insane, right? You can't make this stuff up. So anyhow, I mean, you go through it and it's now, then you look at it and you're like, oh, maybe it's just, maybe we're the ones that are passionate about it. Maybe there's something else that we're missing. Is there something that we're missing here? And then you look at Gary Gensler, right? Gary Gensler issues this statement. If someone asks a lawyer, accountant, or advisor if something is over the line, maybe it's time to step back from the line. Going right up to the edge of a rule or searching for some ambiguity in the text or a footnote may be consistent with the law and its purpose. Now, may not be consistent. Now, this goes back to his statement is directly referencing the lawsuit of the SEC v. Ripple. Why not just come out and say it? Why not just make the statement that you know exactly what you're referencing, right? The spirit of the law is about protecting investors. Really? Is that really what it's about? Or is it about protecting brick and mortars or those lobbyists that are paying your bills? Which one is it? Right? Our rigorous enforcement regime, SEC, is about following the facts and the law wherever they may lead on behalf of investors and working families. Now, what does that even mean? What kind of spin of illogic does that mean? Because how are you protecting me as an investor if I can't invest, if I'm not an accredited investor, in certain investments that can blow up and be amazing? Now, what difference is that investment versus me investing in General Electric or General Motors that both crashed, right? Think about General Motors in 2008, 2009, 2010, when it lost half or more of its value down to zero. If you were holding the bag on General Motors stock when they brought it down to zero, and then they allowed General Motors to rebrand their stock under a new stock ticker symbol and come back while destroying their previous one and destroying all sorts of holdings. Now, why working families? What does that mean? Doesn't everybody work? I mean, aren't all families working families? So why not just say on behalf of Americans, right? Regardless of who you are. Because if you're an investment banker, aren't you a working family? Don't you have a family and everybody's working? What exactly does that mean? What kind of spin of illogic and mincing of words is he using here? The SEC is supposed to just leave it at investors. Working families is irrelevant. Why are you politicizing this statement? It makes no sense. Take off working families, leave it at investors, and actually do your job and protect the investors. This includes deceptive conduct by private funds. Okay, good. Offering or accounting frauds. Good. Insider trading. Good. Market manipulation. Good. Failures to act in retail customers' best interest. What does that mean? Reporting violations. Okay. Best execution and fiduciary violations. Okay. Or any other form of misconduct. Now you get me. Now, what is that? Now it's just ambiguous again. What does that mean? No, it's just ambiguous. Any form of misconduct, whatever it is, whatever we deem at the moment to be misconduct, it's ambiguous, right? And then he says, ICYMI, read my full remarks, FINRA's annual conference. I like this. So Jungle came and said, what if the SEC says that Ripple is one of the good guys, but then sues them, creating massive investor losses? See the need for clarity here? That's a perfect statement. Spot on by Jungle. That's exactly what's happening, right? So let's go. You need to sort out the crypto line, Gary. So here we go. Now, Mark Cuban says, when you talk about stepping over the line, take a look at the SEC first. Here are some classics, right? Let me pull this off. I'm going to open this up. I want to see what he put there because I didn't see that tweet specifically. Okay, and then we're going to go back to that in a minute. This is going to be good. Working okay. Let's get into that in a minute. If you really want to make the market safer rather than puffing up your chest and posturing to or with Wall Street, talk to small investors about what they want to see and how they want to be communicated with. Because Mark Cuban is saying, you aren't doing that. You're not doing it, obviously, right? So now let's go back to the original comment from Mark Cuban. How about making the lines bright and clear so people know what the rules are? The problem isn't that people are looking for gray areas. It's that there are rarely defined rules. Regulation through litigation traps all the people who can't afford a lawyer, accountant, or advisor. Spot on. Mark Cuban just spiked it. That's it. That was a complete mic drop. End of story. Gary loses the argument. That's it. 100% loses the argument. Mark Cuban, 100% spot on. Nobody's looking for the gray area. Nobody's coming up to the line trying to test the gray area. I'm not saying no one. Obviously, there are people doing that. People do that. And then when they do, they get caught. But he's making it sound like, Gary's making it sound like everybody's going to the line. Everybody's in the gray area. Everybody's looking for some ambiguity. Why? Because there is no clarity. It's all ambiguous because the SEC is making it up as they go along, and they're trying to make it up through litigation, right? Regulation through litigation traps all the people. I don't care if they can afford a lawyer or not. It traps all the people, all of them. You can't create right. And the SEC isn't the one that's supposed to make regulation. The SEC is supposed to just operate based on regulation. It's Congress that needs to write the legislation to provide the regulation, to provide the regulatory clarity and the regulatory norms. That's exactly what Darren Soto's trying to do, right? 2 bills in front of Congress. 3rd time in front of Congress. 3rd time in front of the same committees. 3rd time in front of the same chairs. Go figure. Right? I mean, it's crazy, right? We could keep talking about this over and over and over and over again. And then where do we go? Now, with all of this stuff going on, right? You have the SEC contracting a blockchain analytics firm to monitor the DeFi industry. I think, hey, if you're going to do it, tap somebody that's in this space. The SEC is very keen on understanding what is happening in the world of smart contract-based digital assets. The U.S. SEC has reportedly signed a $125,000 deal with blockchain analytics firm AnChain to help monitor and regulate Man, these guys sold themselves short. Holy crap. Huh. What is this? Let's see. According to a Friday report from Forbes, AnChain confirmed the agreement, saying the SEC and blockchain firm had the option to sign up to 5 separate one-year contracts for $125 or $625,000 total. They sold themselves short. What in the world? $125,000 to provide analytics to monitor and regulate the decentralized finance industry. They are giving this software away. They're giving their entire solution away to the $125,000. Now, I look at that, I'm like, man, these guys, it should have been $1 million. That should be $1 million contract. This is the most important financial asset in this space right now, right? And you're going to provide the analytics to help regulate DeFi, and you're going to do it for a measly $125,000, and then an option for a 5-year contract for $125,000. I mean, are these guys amateurs? You know, I mean, $125,000 is like toilet paper change for the government. They don't even think about it. And I mean, it's amazing, right? They're providing something of such significance to me. I'm looking at I saw that $125,000. I'm like, what are these guys? You know, it's crazy stuff. Now let's look at it, right? I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, look at the guys that they have on Falcon X, Amber, CyberX, Gala Games, Law and Forensics, Bitrue, Huobi. They've got some interesting companies. Now their software, 96.5% of crypto market is monitored. 81 billion daily trade volumes, 100 plus customers. Now, did they look at that as like a loss leader? Hey, if we get the SEC, maybe we should just give it to them for free. Maybe it's better to give it to them for free because it shows that we want to be part of the space and it's a resume builder for the website. Ah, man. Huh. If it's, I don't know, Chip, what do you think of this website? I think this website is pretty piss poor. I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is what the SEC tapped. This is their website. This is it. Now they got some solutions. I mean, I expected this elaborate website, but I guess for $125,000, these guys are broke. They don't have the money to develop a really nice website. I mean, come on, right? Now, let me see if I can get my headset to work real quick because we got to watch this. We've got to watch this. What time is it? That's probably true, Dakota. Man, Gensler is invested. It's somebody's brother, uncle, nephew. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, everyone's in this space. Now, Chip and I have used voiceover people. I look at voiceovers as like, you're in a serious financial space. I expect a professional, a quality voiceover for a video. I'm looking at this website. I'm like, the SEC is tapping this company, and this comes on the heels of the FUD, of the false information that was spread about Palantir over this past week about about a leak in their software that the FBI and all these news articles were focusing on Palantir, and then come to find out that it was someone at the FBI that was playing around with their software and their hardware, and they changed some things that they shouldn't have changed, and they opened up their system and had nothing to do with Palantir software, and they spread the FUD. And you look at Palantir, which is a serious data analytics company, and then the SEC is tapping AnChain. Now, AnChain could be the most amazing company in the world. I don't know enough about it, but I'm trying to judge a book by its cover. In this instance, I'm going to judge a book by its cover because these guys are responsible for one of the most critical things right now to do in the financial space as it pertains to cryptocurrency. Now, let's watch this video, and I want to see, feedback on this video, right? Oh, wait, sorry, I got to take this out. Hang on. Remove, share. I got to stop screen first. Hang on, I got to add audio. Got to click like 1,000 times to add something. Oh my God. Let me enlarge this. All right, let's get rid of this. Okay, where's the play button? There we go. Ready?
Who you're dealing with on the blockchain? Do you know who you're dealing with on the blockchain?
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not watching this anymore. These guys are responsible for the data analytics that the SEC is using. Do you hear this voiceover? Listen.
Exactly is your Bitcoin going? You could be doing business with criminals, terrorists, or even sanctioned nations without even knowing it, and be subject to federal investigation. The solution is just one click away.
One click away. I mean, I'm listening to this. I'm just dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded. I honestly dumbfounded. Chip, you and I could make this video, this ad, and do it like 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. This is AnChain that is being utilized right now, tapped by the SEC. Okay, listen.
Welcome to the Sizzling blockchain forensics platform, built to enable industry-grade investigation, even by individuals of all levels of experience. Get unprecedented transparency and insight into any address on the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains, ensuring that you know exactly who you're transacting with and steering clear of any criminal entities, sanctioned individuals or organizations, hacker groups, and more. Sizzle is set up around an intuitive search bar. Simply entering any given wallet address across Bitcoin or Ethereum will bring you to an address summary screen. Here you'll find all relevant information associated with the address. At the top here, you can see the entity category, name, and specific affiliations.
I don't know, man. That's just too much. I can't deal with this. I mean, it's important stuff, and it's just too much. It's just too much. But this is like AnChain, and they're saying some important things here, right? I just can't get over the voice, and I'm not going to probably a super intelligent person, but it's just that tone of voice. It sounds like, I mean, maybe they're appealing to the younger generation. It's just way too, I don't know. I'm just looking at this. I'm just thinking, but this is who the SEC tapped, right? And it could be the perfect company here. It might be great. Crypto and AML. Let's see. Again, I'm looking at this website. I'm like, come on. I mean, am I wrong? Am I completely off that this website sucks? That it looks like they shoved this website together at the last second because they were bringing the SEC on. Is it just me? Am I completely off about this? Maybe it's just super simple. I'm not saying, I can build a website, but am I just off about that? I don't know. I just have a bigger expectation. Man. I don't know. So, and then I'm trying to figure out AML compliance in 7 lines of code. Okay, wonderful. Do I really care? Do I care if it's 7 lines of code? I mean, is that something important for you guys that are doing API plugins? Is 7 lines of code important? Or is it more important that it's a functional, proper solution? Compliance, comprehensive, fast, secure, 100 plus, blah, blah, blah. Where's the information? Is there nothing more that they can say about it? I mean, is this it? Holistic risk scoring? Is it this simple? Our patented machine learning risk engine inferred risk score based on compliance. But I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know. I just don't know. Huh. I just don't know. Let's look at their NFT solution. We build this color. Maybe it's the monitor. I can't see it on this monitor properly. We build the technological infrastructure around NFTs for your brand, whether you're a sports league, a sports team, an influencer, or simply have a compelling use case for the technology. Help build a fan loyalty. Alternative monetization opportunity. Mint NFTs. Trade or gift NFTs. Gamification and long-term incentives. Artists, influencers. Is this lacking? Is it completely lacking? Is this just like a, I don't know. Maybe I'm being, too hard on them. However, I'll tell you what I'm not being too hard on. So let's see. Where is this based? Where do they say this was based? Did they say it was based in San Francisco? Hang on. Where's this company based? Does anyone find out where they're based? Oops. Let's see. No place. Huh. Crazy. However, I think they're in San Jose. There we go. San Francisco. That's where the jobs are. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyhow, that's the point with it. I don't know. I'm just kind of spinning my wheels over here. I think it's San Francisco, San Jose. Anyhow, I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't know if I'm being too harsh on this, but that's my thought process on it. So Ralph Raymond said it looks like it could have been designed by Robert Jackson all over the place. Sorry, Jeff, I reported last week that Australian inflation was okay. Cross that. Charges to build a home have exploded for materials. Your narrative is on point. Appreciate that. Inflation is skyrocketing all over the place, and it's just getting worse, unfortunately. James Rule, 589 coffee sounds. Oh man, James, man, you're giving away the trade secrets. I love that idea. What an amazing idea. 589 coffee, the XRP brand. And you can only buy coffee with XRP. Imagine the whole website is based around XRP. I'm giving it, someone might create this right now. But I like it. I like the 589 coffee. What a great idea. So I appreciate that. There we go. 589 for coffee. Appreciate you, James. Just going back, Ralph, sounds like a high school student trying to desperately sound intelligent. Let's see. Chip, how many do you reckon over there in the US? Most retailers are rest of the world who don't carry any influence or favor with the SEC. Probably quite a few. Let's see. The SEC makes poor choices. It's their MO. That's funny. All right. See that? Oh, wait. What if 589 was the gas price prediction this entire? And we're pretty. They're pretty close to that in California, I think, right? 589 gas prices. Lazy lay, I'd buy a sack of 589 coffee. Chip, you know what to do. Chip, you got it. Okay. All right. Anyhow, let's one more thing here, because this is amazing, right? All sorts of cool stuff. Check this out. This 12-year-old coder is set to earn over $400,000 after 2 months selling NFTs. So Benjamin Ahmed isn't your average 12-year-old. When he's not at school, he enjoys swimming, taekwondo, and learning how to code. At 12 years old, he's coding. At 5, Ahmed began programming after watching his father, Imran, work as a web developer. I think Chip might know Imran, if I'm not mistaken. But lately, non-fungible tokens or NFTs and the smart contracts are collections of code about it. Okay, so he said, I first learned about NFTs earlier this year. I got fascinated because you can easily transfer the ownership in an NFT by blockchain. This kid's smart. NFTs are unique and they get into explain it, but $400,000 in 2 months selling NFTs. What an amazing story, right? So if there's anybody out there who has said that the digital asset space has not changed anybody's lives, that story and the other story we talked about Thursday night about the 2 brothers that are mining Ethereum. So 2 brothers mining Ethereum, making a shit ton of money. A 12-year-old making NFTs posts $400,000 in profit. 400,000. I don't know what all the other costs would be. So maybe it's not pure profit, but man, oh man, unreal. Rug pulled by a 12-year-old. James Rule was saying, what the hell? I had a lemonade stand at 12. Oh my God. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Unreal. So Chip is saying his father is a beast of a coder. He learned from the best. Why? Because this 12-year-old is a former business partner of Chip's. How amazing is that? Talk about a small world. Talk about a small world. So anyhow, that's what I've got. Hey, guess what? Tomorrow night is another great night. I do highly recommend, if you guys are brand new here, we had a small group on today. So I'm assuming everyone on today is already subscribed to the channel. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notifier. Why? Because it helps the Google algorithms. Everyone's like, oh, it's so cheesy to ask all this stuff. But honestly, subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell notifier are all baked into the Google algorithm that help boost the channel and get the channel out in front of more people. So if you guys can do that, also hitting the thumbs up definitely helps out a lot. And so with that, you guys know we stream 6 days a week, Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. we just rant about whatever, and it becomes really engaging. Love it. So this is great. But tomorrow night's another night, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chip and I will be back. Chip will be right here co-hosting alongside me. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. I'm out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.